Good morning. Welcome to the fifth day of our journey into my Formula app. I'd like to start the day by just celebrating and reviewing the amazing things you guys have learned just in 4 days. Only 4 days ago, most of us didn't even know what a cell was. Now we know it's a particular place on a spreadsheet. It's got a name. We name it by the column, in this case B, and row 3. We learned that we could write things in cells. We learned that we could put numbers in cells, and we learned that we could talk to a cell and tell it by using the little equal sign what we want that to do. In this case, we said, hey, cell, we want you to be equal to whatever number is in cell C4 plus whatever number is in cell C5. And it did it. We also learned that there's more than one way to tell a cell to do something. In this case, we said we're the sum of C4 comma C5. We learned also one of the things, and that is that when we want to tell a cell to do something, sometimes there are more convenient ways than others to do it. For example, when we wanted to do n cubed, where n was 5, we simply said that cell times that cell times that cell. Notice we didn't say 5 times 5 times 5, because that would have worked here, but then when we changed the 5 in that cell, the answer wouldn't have changed. We also learned that there were other ways to say raise something to the power of 3. We learned that we did not want to do something like this. If I want to take that 5 to the 7th power, I could say product cell times cell times cell times cell times cell, and that would work, but it'd be very cumbersome and easy to make a mistake. And yes, there are easier ways to do it, like again, using the power formula or the power code. I say that cell 122 times itself 7 times. Another thing we learned was that we could stick pictures into cells. We learned that when we were sticking pictures of these shapes in. Some of us did take the challenge and stuck a picture of our own in. And I think in both of these cases, both with Mr. Green and Mr. Schellenberger, we picked a cool image that represents either something they do or something about themselves. And when they, as well as anybody else who might do that now, put your own picture in, you're going to be doing something that will help you with today's assignment. Knowing what a code for that picture or that picture looks like and how to put it in where you want it is going to be very, very helpful. Let's talk about those quadrilaterals. By the way, most of us have realized that spreadsheets go farther to the left and right or up and down than what our screen can see. So we may have to scroll down to see some of what we want to see. Some of us didn't put in things that just they didn't happen to see in my screen, but they actually do exist. We want to make sure that we fill our screens in completely. We have filled in yesterday just the picture and the word for the shape of that picture, or square. Today we want to begin doing some formulas to find things out about shapes. I would like everybody to put enter side length, 3 little arrows like, hey, enter this side length over here, and use the number 6. Then before you create a code to find a perimeter or to find an area, you must write the code to the side. In other words, how do we find the perimeter of a square? Well, we take the side and we multiply it by 4. So the perimeter of a square is 4 times the side length. The area is the side length times itself, or side squared. Now, we don't have the ability to make the little 2 go up high and small. in a spreadsheet. So we use this little caret. It's above the 6, I think, on most keyboards. And that means take this right here and raise it to this power. Side raised to the second power of the side squared. After you've done that, then you can enter formulas. Let's do the first one. We know we always start with the equal. Here we are going to actually enter just a number because that's a constant. It's 4 times whatever the side length is, and that never changes. So we'll go ahead and put it in. 4, use our little star above the 8, mean times, and we don't want to do what I'm going to do now, and that's put a 6 in and hit tab. Yes, that would give me the right answer for this square and this square only, where the side was 6. But if on my spreadsheet or my formula app, I change that 6 to a 10 and hit tab, I still have a 24 down here. I don't want to do that. We want to be able to just enter one little thing in one cell and have the spreadsheet do the rest of the work. How are we going to do that? We're not going to do 4 times 6. We're going to do 4 times and click on that cell, which says, let's multiply 4 times whatever is in that cell. And when I hit tab, I'll still get 24. But if I change this to 10, now I'll get 40. The perimeter is 40. So we want to make sure that when we're doing our formulas, we write them out and then create one that will work for whatever is in the box up here. We'll let you guys do that one. For a rectangle, you're going to enter, or you're going to type the words enter base and put a 10, enter height, put a 4, perimeter equal, and where I have all of these X's, that means you've got to create the formula like I gave you up here. So what is the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle? What is the formula for the area of a rectangle? And after you've written them, and only after you've written them, you can create codes here that will work with these numbers. It wouldn't hurt then when you're done to check them with other numbers and make sure they still work. I have given you the code for the area of a trapezoid for our 6th graders. In a trapezoid, we're going to have to enter its base, its other base. I just listed them as base 1 and base 2. Put 2 there. There we go. Base 1 and base 2, and the height, because those are the 3 things we need to find the area of a trapezoid. Use these heights, and then do it again with these heights. So you're going to put the code for the area of a trapezoid right here. And you're going to put it again here, referencing these cells. The one here will reference these cells. The one here will reference these cells. I've already given it to you. We know that it's the sum of the bases divided by 2 times the height. You may use parentheses after equal. So if I hit equal, I can put a parentheses, stuff in there, another parentheses, and then keep going, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, whatever I want to do. Create this formula here. You will want to use parentheses. Some of you will want to use divided by 2. Some of you may come up with a different way. Maybe you'd rather use decimals. Do what you think is best. Whatever you do here, do it here. Here you're going to reference these bases and heights, and here you'll reference these bases and heights. I'm going to switch first to circles. That's just our 6th graders, and then we'll talk about triangles, which is our 4th graders and 6th graders. Here I have a circle, and for my taste, when I put it in here, it's really not quite big enough yet for me to read all this. Maybe it is for you. I'd rather make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to make that column wider, and then make the row tall. I don't want to go too tall. If I go too tall, I'll miss part of my calculations. So we still want to keep everything on the screen. That should do. I can read that. So you're still going to do just like you did for trapezoid. You want to enter, I entered for the trapezoid, the area formula. You for a circle are going to use the formulas for the circumference, the formulas for the area. You've got to decide what you need to put in here. Well, pi. We know that pi is a number only use a whole number and 2 digits. Only go out the hundredths place. Keep this radius and this diameter, and then you'll want to put your formulas for your circumference here and your formula for your area, your formula for your circumference here and your formula for your area here. Remember, write them out first, then actually do them. All right, let's talk about triangles. You should have an equilateral triangle, and you should have the words perimeter and the area of any triangle. This is what our 4th graders and 6th graders need to enter or type in. Enter base, enter height. I want you to use a base of 100 and a height of 866 because I already know what the answers are and they come out nice and evenly. For perimeter, what is the formula for the perimeter on an equilateral triangle? Write that here, just like we wrote for the square. What is the perimeter? How do we find the perimeter? How do we find the area? We want to do the same thing for triangles. You write them where I've got the x's, and then you actually create them so that they'll do the work for you with these numbers. Let's combine those ideas. I'd like you to find a picture of a different triangle and put it here. You need to decide what you're going to enter. I only put one enter. There's probably more things that you need to enter in order to find the perimeter of triangles and the area of triangles. Now, I'm guessing this formula will probably be the same as this formula, but the perimeter of this triangle is probably different than the way you would find the perimeter of an equilateral triangle. You're going to say to me, Mr. Bullen, how do I find a picture that looks like that? You're going to search for it. We're going to search using these words: public domain image, triangle ABC with height. That tells Google that we don't want to just look at any image. We want to look at public domain images. Those are images that you should be allowed to use free of charge. They either don't have a copyright or the copyright has been assigned to the public. Now, sometimes Google will return images that are copyrighted. You might see an image that's got a little, some text written over it that says copyright or might have a company's name written over it. Don't use those. Let's assume, however, for our reasons that if it says public domain image when we hunt for it, and if it doesn't have some copyright written on it, that we can use it. We're looking for a triangle ABC with height. The triangle has sides A, side B, side C, and a height. See what that looks like when we try to go find it. If I type in public domain image triangle ABC with height, I got these results. Well, I don't see any pictures. Then I will click on images. And here are a whole bunch of supposedly public domain images that are labeled. This is the one that I used right over here. You can use that if you want. There's another cool one down here. It goes the other way. It's got some other things labeled, but it does have the A, the B, and the C labeled for the sides, and it has a height label. One up here you shouldn't use. Picture's perfect, but you can already see that even on a web result or a search result, it's so small, it'll be hard to see in your spreadsheet. So let me do this. Let me click on that, That brought it up big. Then don't copy the picture, right mouse button and say copy or click copy image address. That just copied the image address. You can then go anywhere you want, and I'm going to just go to this triangle here, and I'm going to highlight right between the quotation marks and hit paste, which should paste what I just copied. Yep, I've got a new address, and when I hit tab, there's the triangle that I copied. I'm going to get out of that and go back to what I had. You might want to copy this triangle down here and then go find your address, and all you have to do is paste it between the quotation marks. When we're done, I should see what I need to have entered. You're going to have to do a little thinking on your own. What do you need to enter to get the perimeter, and what do you need to enter to get the area? I'll let you put your own values in here for whatever you need to enter, and then we'll see if you can make these codes here, use these values to give us a perimeter and an area of this triangle. Remember, always hit the share button and share with me when you're done. If you need help after you've shared it to me, I will try to give you help online. If you still need help, get your parent to send me an email with your phone number and a good time to call, and say that it's okay to call you, and I can call you and work you through these things live over the phone. I've done that with at least 3 people so far. All right, that should do it for today. Hope you guys have fun, and we'll talk to you later.